Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the next part of this Super Saiyan looking Bang Shishigami project, where we finally started getting some actual colors on them, even if they aren't the correct colors. As you can see, he has a Majin Buu type skin tone going on, which I guess I'm doing a Dragon Ball kind of reference thing today. But hopefully today we're going to change that. So, just as we did the hair, the skin, and we started the black stuff the other day, we are going to do a second coat on those and tweak the colors a little bit, see if we can't get them looking a little more correct. So along the lines of the hair, we had started with just the straight up brown color, which seems to match that image pretty well. But if we come back to, say, this one here, you see the hair is actually a little darker in here. And if we go with some of the other ones, it winds up being just actually a little bit darker than the straight up brown is on this, at least for the low lights and whatnot. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to add just like a drop or two of black, nothing more, just a little bit, just kind of darken it up just a little. And that's going to help, and actually this is a good image to use on here, is if you look at the if you look at the boots, have like kind of the black portion there, you get kind of the dark color on the gauntlets, get the dark color belt. It brings that more dark color then up to the top of the head. So it's not the same color, because again, the boots to the gloves to the head, it all kind of changes. It goes from the perfect like dark black. It's going to be a slightly lighter black on this part, but not quite as much. Then it gets slightly lighter as it goes up into the hair. So we get the gradation, but this is just a little too light to make that work. So we're gonna see if we can darken that up a bit. And again, worst case, we can always lighten it back afterwards. And after that's done, like I said, I told you last time he was gonna look like he's completely sunburned. So this time we're gonna try to bring him back into his actual skin tone, which we're gonna start with the base of the mocha, which as you can see is not right. Let's go and bring you back. So he's definitely a little more yellowish, a little more orangish there. So I'm going to add a couple drops of the orange, see how that works. If nothing else, I can always add a little bit of white, or I can always add a little bit of the yellow, whatever, to kind of bring it back. But we're going to start with predominantly the mocha and add a little bit of that. See how we do on color. If we get those guys done, then I'm just going to continue with the black. I said I wasn't sure if I was going to do the other side on or off camera. Haven't gotten to it yet, so that's just where we are. My body was in rest mode yesterday, so I got no work done on this stuff the other day. So that's where we are. Then hopefully, then after today's stuff, we can then dive onto a different element next time. But that is where we are. That is what our game plan is for this. So let me just pull you apart for the time being. We're going to bring you down here. And let's see. So we have, of course, there's me. I always I've had things dissolve through these before, so I double cup them, and I can always take the bottom cup back out. But we're going to start with shaking some of these things. Now, I did do something right before doing this. I did add white to the teeth and to the eyes, just so, yeah, it's a whole lot easier getting those inner parts done now than actually after the skin tone is done. And I wasn't sure how easy that was going to be doable on camera. So let's see. So what I'm going to do is, that should be more than enough. Again, pretty sure these things are mixed. I'm just playing it safe. And I really don't want more than just like a drop or two. Black is very pungent in this thing. That's not the word I'm going for, but a little bit has a tendency to go a long way, and we actually need more. This is probably the first time ever I've said I need to add more black to something. Okay, that was a couple more drops. I'm still not happy with this. Wow. Usually this just like darkens it almost instantly. We will get the painting sometime in this video. It's going to happen. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. It looks a lot lighter on camera because it's reflecting off the light there's reflecting off of it, but in person, that's looking a lot better. And I'm going to trust what the in-person view is going to do for this. So, what do I want to do? I want to do, yeah, like before. Like before, we'll start on inside. And realize this is still going to take more coats. But that said, I believe my rule of thumb is I'm going to show 2 coats worth of stuff on here, and anything else I can do off camera, because you don't need to see the same thing over and over. There is a difference between the first coat and the second coat for sure. Any subsequent coats, it becomes a lot less kind of woohoo noticeable, and so anything further than this is just going to be done off camera. But no, I am liking this color actually more already. Darker tone is good. I may even do the next coat one thing slightly darker than this as well, but we'll see when I get to it. Not concerned with that yet. Let this percolate a little bit first, and then we get to that part. That said, I'm kind of surprised right now. It's actually Tuesday. I believe this one's going up on Friday. And as of right now, my parents' videos of the race over the weekend are still one of the only ones up that I've seen on YouTube. Usually I would expect something to be up kind of at this point, but there's one more up there of somebody doing the sprint version, but there's nothing of anybody doing the super. And that actually legitimately surprises me. I always feel like that's one of like the more popular races, the ones kind of everybody does. It gets all kind of notoriety, so I just kind of assume it's going to get a lot more represented on kind of these walkthroughs, but apparently not yet. So we will see how long that lasts. That said, that one did actually surpass my very first video count, so yay that. Even though, thinking about it, I kind of addressed the wrong audience on the video. Again, I kind of gave a review just as if I'm kind of going towards friends and family and describing what happened to them, or describing what happened to me for them, not to them. That's the wrong phrasing. And I guess it's kind of based more off of how I'm doing these things. It's a kind of a just chat kind of thing. But I believe the audience for the races just kind of wants to see the videos and move on, and that's it. So I think if I'm going to do that again, I would either truncate it a lot and have a lot less of talking stuff, just put the videos up and that's it. Or I could do 2 separate videos, one kind of meant to be more of just a recap, what worked, what didn't work, why things went the way they did, and one just for the video stuff. So again, so I can kind of satisfy both audiences. Those who know me, want to know more about this stuff, want to hear like the stories and the tales and the yarn that I can string on that. They can go for like the longer version, but for the vast majority who want to see it, they can just kind of get in, out, see their video, done. So it's a learning experience. We're going to be, like I said, everything I'm doing right now is kind of a learning experience, what works, what doesn't work, and whatnot. Although at the same time, it's difficult to tell what doesn't work when there's no feedback on any of these, but there's not a big enough audience to get much of a feedback, so I'm just kind of doing what I'm doing. And that's it. That said, I'm thinking I'm thinking of moving on from this project at this point. I'm not going to just rush through it and get it done, but just to give an idea, I'm thinking either it's next episode or the one after that. I'm going to do the character reveal for the next project I'm going to do. And if anybody has any strong opinions or whatnot, they can put it in the comments section if they want one of the characters versus a character versus a different character or whatnot. Otherwise, when I get to that point, I can make a decision myself. That's not a problem. Usually, that's kind of how I give myself things anyway. I tend to give myself a couple options and then go from there. And then I don't necessarily repeat those options later on. Sometimes then go to I usually then go to like 3 completely different ones other than that. So it's not like they're necessarily going to all be done at some point, but it's just like there's a theme that kind of underscores all of them, and I just kind of want one of them to kind of fit the theme kind of deal. So be prepared for that. We're gonna start one of the next couple videos off a little bit differently than I have been, and we're just gonna go with that. That said, the hair is changing color, so this is good. It's a lot less blotchy now, also good. And like I said, this can be the low lights. I can always then add highlights to certain areas if I believe like light is shining off it or whatnot, because his image does have him have pretty good highlights going on, so might need to do that. That said, I know it's probably going to be unavoidable, but the Killington stuff is on my mind ever since the last race, so there may be a disproportionate amount of this conversation geared towards that. We'll just kind of see, but that is what has been on my mind recently, because this past race has made me extremely nervous towards Killington. Not gonna lie. A number of things did not go well here, and though the situation at that one is going to be different, it's typically around like 50 degrees or so over there. It's not going to be 90 plus. So a number of the issues that popped up may not show themselves again, but all the same, this one just didn't go very well from the start, so we will see. That said, in terms of damage report, in terms of what's sore, what's not sore, what happened, chest and, if we're going to start from like the upper body stuff, chest and back after the race are 100% fine. Nothing wrong on those. In terms of the arms, the big one is the deltoids again, which, if you know me, this has been a recurring issue on some of these races. The first 2 ultras I did, I believe the first one I had pulled something kind of in that area about 3 weeks before my first ultra, and I kind of muddled my way through that race and kind of re-pulled everything during it, which was not good. So then when I came the second time through, that's when I was training. That's when I was kind of legitimately training for Worlds. I was really trying to get that. And again, I know there's no hard qualification to get into Worlds. Everyone who does an Ultra does. But they used to have the top 10 in an age group would qualify. So for me, I wanted that top 10 in the age group really bad. So I pushed that one. And once again, I kind of ripped both of those deltoids again. I don't know if ripped is the right word, but I definitely pulled them. I aggravated them. That's maybe the word. And so when I came to do my third ultra, I pretty much did no upper body workouts whatsoever leading in, and everything was 100% fine. And ultimately, what I found out was the cure for when I actually started kind of paying attention to myself, what to do, what not to do, and whatnot. The problem with those is when I sit at my computer, I've noticed, I kind of keep my arms rested on the side. They're kind of not going anywhere. They're kind of a little stationary. So I found if I just, every 20 minutes or so, just stretch, all of that problem disappears. So I've been a little lax at this time because I haven't had that feeling in about 2 years. Last Ultra, Yeah, last Ultra was fine. The one before had the issue, so it's been about 2 years since I really had that kind of problem that I kind of forgot about it. So a little stretching that solves my entire upper body issue. That said, going for that distance, I historically have had my my forearms and stuff kind of give out at like the last couple obstacles. It makes it like all the way through, then right at the end, they kind of finally kick the bucket. So really, a couple things I want to change is when I've been doing the pull-ups and whatnot right now, I'm just going to swap those out to chin-ups. Because if you saw the video before, or I had just posted, and you watched kind of all the way through to the multi-rig at the end, when I was supposed to pull up on that last ring to give myself the height advantage to be able to reach, well, the final ring, but didn't do that. Having that type of strength in there is good. If they have the Tyrolean traverse, that's another one where having bicep strength would be nice. And chin-ups actually hit the biceps where pull-ups do not. So just swapping between those should solve a lot of that problem. At the same time, if I want any more kind of finger strength stuff, if I need help on like Olympus or whatnot to give myself longevity on that, I had just kind of started swapping from doing push-ups or just kind of standard push-ups to the fingertip push-ups. You have your fingers on the ground rather than the palms of your hand. And so just doing those two, going chin-ups and the fingertip push-ups, those two things should solve really any of the upper body stuff I could have. Otherwise, lower body is going to need to be, I need to figure out how to hike correctly, because accordingly when you're supposed to be doing hills and whatnot, you're supposed to be using your glutes mostly and not quads and hamstrings to take the majority of the load. So I need to just get quantity of practices hiking and getting the right muscle set engaged for those types of things. And in line with that, I just need to straight up get more mass in my legs for the quads and hamstrings. And I guess really glutes. If you're supposed to use glutes for hiking, glutes to the calves and shins kind of surprised me, because on the course, my calves were sore as heck. Because figure if you're going up and down stairs, your feet are always kind of flat on a step, because each one, so you're not really engaging like the arc of your ankle there. Going up hills, my ankles were sore going up just from the sheer steepness. They had to kind of keep bending themselves to make it all kind of work. But afterwards, they're actually not sore. So that surprised me bigly. My quads are fried. So the last couple days I've gone for a couple walks around here, just kind of loosening things up. I think Wednesdays are always the off day, but come Thursday we're going to start working those out. We got to go for a run or a bike ride or something. And I think in the once or twice a week category, after any of the given runs, we're going to bring back lunges again. I used to do that before, where after a workout, it would be lunge time, and I'd gotten to a point training, I think it was for Worlds last time, where I had done close to half a mile worth of lunges. Just straight. The knee hovers above the ground. Again, I'm not going to have the knee touch the ground, because again, I'm wearing shorts, and that's just going to destroy the top of my knee. So I really don't want to harm myself doing this, but I'll get to a point where the knee just kind of hovers like maybe an inch above the ground, and then I go and I do the next one. But I was at a place before where I was doing that bigly, and I kind of fell off of that trait, so we're going to get back to that again, and we're going to shift things over real quick, because I didn't do eyebrows last time on him, and rather than do all of these detailing things off camera, I know you're not going to be able to see anything, so my hands are going to be kind of blocking the way, but maybe this can help get something on camera. I apologize if I'm looking a little scruffy right now. I haven't shaved or anything, so. And being as my glasses are off, I can't tell if this is going to be on camera or off camera, and my computer is out of the way. So I kind of also forgot to put eyebrows on Rain when I did that model, so. But hers, they were really kind of thin to begin with. Again, here, Bangs are a little bigger. Like I said, he has kind of Rock Lee type eyebrows. They're huge. So we want to make sure we get something on here. This may look really funky. Again, if this doesn't look right in the end, it's paint. I can always change it. And I can almost guarantee you're probably looking at nothing right now, because it's facing away from you so that I can see what's going on. But you can't see anything. But at least you can see something's happening. But I figure while I have this paint mixed, although this will stay good in here for a while, I'm going to wrap this up in plastic. And I've had this stuff last over a week in plastic, and I can come back and retouch things. So there is going to be longevity in this. So if I ever want to come back to it, that won't be an issue. We just need a little bit more towards the back edge here. Okay, with that we now have eyebrows on him, so that part's good. And what time are we? We are over there. Okay, so now he can sit here. I'm gonna go. I have these great sandwich bags. These things are fantastic for work when I'm painting and whatnot, and just have like brushes and stuff. I'm doing one coat and I'm gonna do a second coat like later on that day. Just throw it in a piece of plastic. Bam. This will actually be fine over there for quite a while. Like I said, on Rains I had one color I did and it lasted a week before I got back to the next, and it was still fine. Okay, so this one, the hair color I wasn't so concerned with. Skin tone may take, I'm not sure, a try or two to get this right, because that one feels like it's more of a... The hair was just trying to find the right tone of color. Skin tone is going to be finding the right actual color. So... Alright, so like I said, we're going to start with the base of mocha, and we're going to add little bits of orange to this to try to maybe brighten it out. I might need to put a little yellow, I'm not sure. But I think no matter what, this is going to look better than the pink that's on here. So let's add a pretty healthy amount in this. Let's add, he doesn't have that much skin to go over, but we're going to add a little healthy amount. Let's not put it back there where I can lose it. Although I'm not going to misidentify, because I've said the word mocha now enough times on camera that if I ever need to find it again, I can just look up this video. Okay, where is my second stir? I have 2 stirs. So our goal is to give him just kind of a little bit of a glow. That didn't do anything, and actually I think I'm going to add just a little bit of the yellow too. Okay, I don't want to lighten it too much. We just want to give it that glow. Some more orange. All right, so far we're not there yet. Okay, we're actually getting better. Yeah, all right, we're gonna go just a little bit more. I was about to say, it kind of looks like a tannish kind of look, like he's been tanned, and that's actually kind of what we're going for. Again, the color I'm looking at here versus what's being shown in your camera, because I think the light coming down is making it look very different than what I'm seeing. I'm looking at my preview on the computer screen here versus what I'm looking at, and they are two very different things. So I'm going to try this as a first coat of this color. If it works, it may be an only coat. If it doesn't work, then yep, that's a first coat, all right. And yeah, not starting with the face first. Well, I have this, got this big guy right here, so might as well start with this. And let's see what we have going on. I'm not liking this. Let's see. Too orange. Let's get some of that back with this. All right, just toning it down just a little bit. Maybe if I didn't have the kind of the reddish underneath here, that other color might have worked a little better. Yeah, this is starting to feel a little nicer. And he kind of has that bronze-ish look to it. He's definitely been like out in the sun. He's been doing stuff. But it's not as orange as the first. It's also not covering particularly well, so that's awesome. But no, definitely not so sure Killington is going to be super possible after this last race, but at the same time, wouldn't exactly be a good example for anybody. I can't exactly tell anybody to go do your best if I'm not going to do the same thing myself, so we're still going to try for this. I can't guarantee it's going to be doable, but we're going to try. I figure I have about 6 weeks. As of when this video posts, I really have about 6 weeks to get ready for it. Then the final 2 weeks are kind of rest up and kind of recuperate and kind of eat what I need to, drink what I need to, and gonna get the final prep work going. But I have about 6 weeks worth of time I can really kind of dedicate towards getting myself better. Like I said, the upper body generally doesn't need that much work. When I did the previous Ultra, I did 0 upper body exercises outside of like just what I'd usually do for my day job type stuff. And for the first 31 miles, it was a 33-mile course. For the first 31 miles, I had only 1 obstacle fail, and that was a spear throw that bounced off the target. So I'm not concerned about that portion of things. That said, it's just going to be those hills. It's going to be the hills, it's going to be the mountains. Again, this one was, it wound up being, because I did a couple penalty loops, just about exactly 7 miles, and it was almost 2,700 feet of climbing. So that's roughly a 40-story building per mile. For every mile was the average on this course. And Killington is actually steeper than that. Typically, that one's going to be closer to a 50-story building per mile, every mile. So then again, it's not going to have the same heat problems I had before, but it's still it's all of a sudden after this one it's become a very real kind of more scary proposition. I had done the two of them at Vernon, which were about 11,000 feet of climbing, which actually isn't too far off of what this was in the end per mile. I think those were 30 something stories per mile, or yeah, per mile. It's like a 30-story building or a 35-story building, whatever, per mile average. So I have done those. I've done them in 10 and 11 hours respectively. The first one was actually under 10 hours. The last one was just under 11, because the first time I was training for Worlds, the second time I very definitely was not. And then it rained at the end, and I just kind of froze myself, and just everything went wrong. For like the last like mile and a half, just everything went wrong. But yeah, my work ethic has not been the same as my Worlds attempt work ethic, and that hit me pretty hard this last race. So we gotta. I think if I do start doing the next project, I'm probably going to limit that to either 3 or 4 videos per week. I don't see it being 5 videos until after, at a minimum, until after the race is done. Because big thing I'd work on the Laurelman project. Yeah, my next real project on Laurelman project is Killington. Once this one is done, the primary project is Killington. Get that one doable. Anything else is going to be secondary. After the race, I can do whatever I want. But, because then I'm going to be jumping headfirst into off-season, you better believe. And I'll probably generally fitness-wise take the rest of September, and again, when I say I take it off, it usually means I'll do maybe 1 or 2 workouts a week, and I'm not really worried about pacing or any of that type of stuff. We're just kind of, whatever I do is doing for fun. But I will enjoy an off season after Killington is done, and at that point I can jump into either kind of finishing off the next model. Like I said, I would like to do other things beyond just the clay, just for the channel right now. It'd be nice, I think, having a couple of clay things on here before I kind of move on. So I think the next ones I do should be a little bit quicker than this one. Thinking about it, at least of the possibilities that I have in my head. But we'll see. I've said stuff like that before and have wound up being 100% wrong in the end. So we will see. But all right, I am not convinced on this concoction I've made. But at the same time, a second coat would also make this a lot less blotchy. So maybe that would help. Because perhaps the blotchiness isn't helping with this. Because I mean, the fingers don't look terrible on there. It's just this kind of big open space isn't looking particularly great. Then again, he's half Majin Buu and half skin tone, so there's that. If you don't know who Majin Buu is, watch Dragon Ball. He is a character. It is definitely a story arc. Actually, it's not that bad compared to... Yeah, it's looking a little more toned out on here. It's a little more vivid in real life than on the camera, I'm noticing. But we'll see once this dries, because again, this is a matte finish I'm putting on the skin. So right now it's glistening. In the end, it is not going to glisten. So it's going to read differently. So we need to get that in mind. Yeah, I also think I definitely need to get back into doing more kind of basement gym type workouts than I had been doing. I need to do at least 2 per week, maybe 3 per week. And again, they're pretty much entirely going to be focused on the lower body. I need to get the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes, and the calves all lined up. Like I said, upper body doesn't matter. Upper body I can get away with. Just a couple minor tweaks and I'm there on that. But lower body, my goodness, I need a lot of work. Okay, so we have that stuff. Apparently I was holding his chest. That's awesome. Let's not pull the paint right back off of him. That would be good. Okay, he's looking very blotchy, so I have a strange feeling that I'm going to be coming back and doing another coat, which means that first pink undercoat is probably going to wind up being entirely hidden in the end. But stuff like that happens. Alright, we do have a hand down here we need to do. So let's get that one in, and then we're saving the big reveal part for the end. So yeah, the face is being done last. Surprise, surprise. Technically, I'm just making sure the hair is dry before I start kind of manipulating the thing. But trying to think the last I've had an event that I've been training for that I've been legitimately worried about. Or like legitimately like actually scared for. I know the Science Olympiad ones, I definitely was. Actually, States, the first time I made the team and went to States was the most nerve-wracking experience ever. Because I had tried to make that team for 3 straight years, failed every single time, and then all of a sudden, again, you have like 15 people on the team, and they're like 20 or 25 different events, and usually it's 2 people per event. So most people in the team are like doing 2 or 3, like 2, 3. Some people had like up to 4 different events they were competing in. I was brought in for one, and I was brought in for one reason and one reason only. I literally had to win my event, and there was nothing beyond that. I was brought in for one thing. I had to win it. So I remember I was a ball of nerves going into that state test. It was not good times. I learned a lot from that in terms of test taking stuff that I could always pass on to those who want it. But I remember that one I was super legitimately nervous for. But otherwise, I've always kind of felt like I could do something. I may not be fast at something, but I always felt like I could do it. If like push comes to shove, I can get in there and just make it work. This is one of the few times where I'm not sure I'm going to finish. I legitimately don't know if I'm actually going to be able to finish this race or not. And it's a very it's a different kind of feeling to have. I'm not used to this feeling of just saying, oh, this may actually not be possible. But at the same time, I can't not try it. I've been talking about it enough. I have to go for it. We got to give it a shot. But yeah, I do not know if this is actually going to be legitimately finishable, or if I'm just going to be one of those statistics at the end that people go, oh, well, I've heard anywhere from 50 to 80% of the people who start the race don't finish it. So that expectation is already kind of built in that, yeah, you go on the starting line, you look at the people to left and right of you, and odds are both of them won't finish kind of deal. But yeah, it's a different kind of feeling that I'm used to. I guess a little uncertainty can be fun. It's nice to challenge yourself every once in a while to see what you can actually do versus what you can't and whatnot. But yeah. Okay. He's he's getting his tan to look. He is definitely getting his tan to look. I'm just kind of getting roughly the stuff going right here. And then we're going to do another one of those. I need to zoom in. I need to move the camera around so that I can actually get all the little spots. I'm going to get it, yeah, close-ish, but I'm going to do the real cutting in when I have the ability to actually cut in. Right now, my grip is not right. He's too far away for me to kind of see a lot of these details. I need to get him in a better spot before I try to go any more than this. I shouldn't be trying to cut in nicely. It's not gonna go well. Alright, he's still looking super blotchy. Which again, I was fine when the cat one came out really blotchy. I'm like, that's okay, because from a distance it was reading right. But I kind of don't want it to be super blotchy this time. So I may wind up doing one more coat after this. And again, if I'm not doing anything special with the coat, I'm probably going to do that off camera, just in the interest, again, of moving on. Because at this point, you've already seen what two coats do. You've seen a change in color that the two coats have produced, and that should be fine. I don't know why I'm painting underneath here, but we are. Okay, we need to. I'm going to do what I can to allow you to see what's happening. But, okay, if I'm here, are you on camera? Okay, so I need to be. Where am I going? So kind of up there is on camera. I take the glasses off and I can't see anything. So I can't even see when the paintbrush hits the paint, which is super cool. Yeah, this is just a little bit blotchy. Just trying to get inside his lip right now. I'm not even sure what the camera is focusing on. Again, I can't see my computer. I can't even see when my brush gets in the paint. So this phase of things just is what it is. This is one of the reasons why I was hesitant on showing any of this painting stuff at the start of this whole project. But again, if the goal is to show everything involved in the process, I should probably actually show everything involved in the process. So Okay, and while I'm here, I can see stuff that I didn't quite get. Come on, hit the paint. There you go. I got a little bit of brown on the skin tone there. So let's get that. Okay, now we need to get into this eye recess. Ooh, perfect amount. Score. That's the opposite of score. Well, we're going to touch that up. This is why we save things like that brown color, so we can touch up like his eyebrow there. Technically the eyebrows only have one coat of paint anyway, so I think they need to be touched up to begin with. Okay, let's see, just a dab of white still showing up there. A dab of white right at the edge of the eye. Okay, I think let's get the glasses back. Whoop. All right, we got a person. The overhead lighting is still not helping. I was hoping the whites of the eyes was going to help bring that out, but once you get into shade, you still can't see anything. So that is what it is. I was just about to dunk my paintbrush in here to wash it off. That is not the right one to wash off with. Okay, so what time are we right now? We're that time. So once again, we can kind of get started on black stuff, but we're not going to finish anything on black stuff. We're just going to call it at that point. But that goes back away. You go back down there. And I need another plastic bag for skin. Okay, actually now that the skin tone is drying, I'm feeling a little better about that. Okay, so that's there. And I guess we might as well start with whoop, this guy here. So what time do we have on that? Okay, so we have about 10 more minutes-ish. Let's see what we can do. Don't lose the paintbrushes. Okay, this was the satin. Yes, the satin is what I want. Actually, for 10 minutes, I probably should have done the boot instead. It would have gotten a little more bang for the buck on time-wise. But, oh well. Am I on camera? Oh, I'm all the on camera. Never mind that question. So yes, I figure either, this is going out on Friday. So maybe I'll have it for the next one. Have just like a Saturday one where it comes out, and I'll give the options that I'm thinking of for the next model. Again, it will be some time before I get to actually doing the model. I want to finish this one first. I do want to have some time off, like I said, between the end of this and the start of the next. And then at least for probably the first half of that project, it's going to be reduced hours to actually work on it. Because I really do need to make the Killington project the actual next Laurelman project. I do need to focus on that. But at the same time, it's nice having something else to fall back onto to kind of relax afterwards. And despite like the production stuff and all that I need to do for this to kind of make it all work, this is still relaxing. Most of the building phase stuff is relaxing. There are definitely some parts that may or may not be. But for the vast majority of this is still a relaxing thing. And thankfully, those of you who are watching have been really good about that. You haven't been posting things saying, why am I doing this? This thing looks terrible, or any of that type of stuff. So you've been really good in that regard. And I thank you for that. But then again, I'm not going to do the same thing over and over again and not expect to burn out. So yes, this may be relaxing, but at the same time, it is not a bad thing to swap off for just a little while. I'm still curious how long I can keep this shtick going for the painting stuff, because I just feel like there's less to talk about on the painting things. So this is likely going to turn into more of like a blog kind of. Well, I guess it kind of already is, but when there's less other stuff to talk about, it just feels like it's going to be more so in that regard than actually talking about what it is I'm doing. Okay, so we have that there. What's our time? Our time is still that, so. Okay, I did actually, between things too, I did kind of retouch up kind of those pieces. So it doesn't look as bad as it did. I'm going to make the same mistakes on this one. I'm going to hit stuff that I shouldn't, because I can already not see where this thing is. Although this one tucked in under the pants. So I know that much. Yeah, I know you probably want to see the red or the green or like the main colors coming next, but I think after this we're going to be kind of doing more of the metallic stuff. I'll get like the belt stuff. We're going to get a lot of these kind of more detail-y areas done, and we're going to save these big hunga chunga kind of pieces more towards the end of this painting process. It's just more fun that way. I don't like ending on these little detail things. I like ending on like the big reveal type ones. It gives you something to look forward to. So there will be that coming at some point in the really not too distant future. Again, he doesn't have that many colors going on him, so this shouldn't take that long to do. I'm still not sure how I'm going to deal with the kind of more detail-y pieces. The whatchamacallit, kind of medallion things on his sleeves or whatnot, the decals. Still not sure how I'm going to deal with those on camera versus not on camera, because, well, you just saw the quality that I can produce on camera with that. And I'll have to go through, rewatch the video, see what I can see, what you can see, what you can't see in regards to that, and we'll make a decision when we get to that point. But right now, I'm not super sure how well or not well that's going to work. It would be really nice to put that on because I think those decals really are kind of gonna give this all the character. But at the same time, if it's like what I just did and I notice you actually can't see what I'm doing, then maybe it's like right now, I'm off camera. I don't know how long I've been off camera. But yeah, but if you can't actually see what I'm doing, is it really helping anything? It's like, yes, you can see that I'm the one who's doing it, I guess. But I'm not sure what else you would suppose at this point. Okay, where is the camera pointed? Okay, camera is right there. Good. Oh, twisting my wrist in a weird way. Okay, almost there. We're going to finish off going around this little medallion area here. And then we're going to call this video. And then next time, we'll probably start working on a different section. Because like I said, if the skin needs touching up or whatever, or another coat, I'm probably going to do that off camera. Like I said, I don't want to keep doing things over and over and over again on camera. I'm thinking like on this, 2 coats, that's all you need to see. You understand what's going on. Especially when I get to the red, like the scarf and whatnot. Yeah, I'm only going to show 2 coats of that. That may take 5 coats to get it right. I'm only going to show you 2 coats of that. I think if I had like a sprayer or something, like the airbrush, I can get away with that, doing that a lot faster, a lot neater, and whatnot. But I don't, and I think I'm just going to stop that at the 2 coats. Like I said, Rain's, when I did hers, that took, I believe it was 5 coats to finally get the red to work. So, and you're not going to need to see that. So I'm going to have a little off-camera stuff coming up, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But overall, we got that kind of detail going. I can stick you down here. All right, we're going to put you away. What time do we have? We have that time. We are out of time. So let me clean this off real quick, re-put them back together. And that is it for this session. All right, so what does, I was about to put the gauntlet on something that doesn't exist. He is very orange. I always miss this hole. Where is it? Dude, where are you? There you are. All right. Ay, ay, ay. So get in there. Let's see. Let's actually put you on over here. As you notice, we don't need all of this stuff with him. We're going to be adding all of those things later on, because right now we have like Super Saiyan Bang going here, and it's just kind of working just like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to put highlights on the hair. That's good for a backdrop. Got to stick some highlights on that to make it all work in the end. But that is there a way to kind of just lean you back so the light is hitting it a little better? Yeah, he's smiling. He's all happy. He's good. All right, hair is now a little, hair's a little too dark. I'm going to lighten some of that up. But the other stuff is looking nicer. We're starting to see the details now in those. I said, we're getting a bunch of these smaller things done first. The big pieces will come. Just probably, actually, that's not true. If I do the chrome and the metal work, like this whole big thing is going to be done on there. Gauntlets are going to jump out. All of a sudden, these guys are going to jump out. So really, the smallest stuff, other than like the belt, really kind of is done. All the other stuff will get bigger and more in your face. But yeah, that is where we are on the band project. And until next time, enjoy.